action. Welcome everyone to our planning meeting for Monday, March 23rd. Is there any disclosure of conflict of interest? Seeing none, motion to accept the agenda. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the public meeting of planning agenda of Monday, March 23rd, 2026.
Okay, thank you. No additions. We're all good, Jacob?
Yep.
Okay. Ratify the minutes. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Mike Madden, Councillor Madden. That the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the minutes of the public meeting of planning of Monday, February 23rd, 2026.
Okay, thank you. I think we're all struggling here on the...
Yeah.
All right, any discussion on the minutes? No errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to zoning bylaw amendments, we have Z04 2026. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the applicant for this file, Monsieur Richard Descostes, the owner, numbered company from Quebec. The location, so the address is 2405 Lagan Glenelg Road, considered Dalkeith, but it's right there. So it's very close to County Road 34, pretty much between Alexandria and the 417. So it's the red rectangle that you see there in the middle of the screen. A little close up, so that's what it is. It's a 107-acre property currently with a dwelling on it and a barn. And the north portion is treed and the rest is mostly fields. And then a little bit closer again. This zoning bylaw is really to comply with the condition of the severance. As you can see, there's a severance, a flag lot severance, long driveway accessible to Lagan Glenelg Road. We're separating the dwelling from the remainder of the agricultural property. So the purpose for this application, rezone the retained portion, so the large portion, the large farming portion of consent application B124-25, so it's 105 acres. We're rezoning from General Ag to General Ag 279 to prohibit residential development and to acknowledge the deficiency lot frontage from the required 200 to 190 meters. And we're also rezoning the severed portion, so the residential portion, 1.7 acres, from General Ag to General Ag Special Exception 280. This one to prohibit agricultural uses and to acknowledge the deficiency lot frontage from required 45 meter to the proposed 10 meter, mainly due to it being a flag lot. So it's basically the width of the driveway that we're keeping right up to the dwelling. So the effect of this zoning bylaw is basically going to be to comply with two conditions for the two zoning for the two portion of severance application 124-25, surplus dwelling severance. So this is just another, it's the same slide again. So the retained portion is the large portion, the agricultural portion, and the severed portion is the residential portion. So as you can see, I have a closer picture, but as you can see there, the severed portion is really just the dwelling, septic system, and well, and the existing barn that's no longer being used as a barn, it's being used as a agricultural storage right now, is staying with the agricultural portion. So there's no requirement for change of use on any building. And all the buildings are deemed compliant with zoning bylaw. So it's actually just a severing off the dwelling. So the official plan designation for this file, as you can see, it's agricultural resource lands, and so are all the neighboring properties. And same thing for our zoning bylaw. So it's general agricultural and floodplain, basically around the Rigaud River that's crossing the property. That's also crossing the driveway. So in all my slides and all the bylaw that you have, I have all the big rectangle for all the property, but of course the floodplain zone is not being rezoned. It's staying as floodplain. We're just rezoning the agricultural portion of the property. So basically 107 acres. It's been already approved at the county level. We're severing off 1.7 acre, so kept to a minimum. That's including all the driveway, so it's really just surrounding the house and the septic system, which is located on the east of the dwelling. And the well is on, if I'm correct, on the north of the dwelling, so everything is compliant there. All the setbacks are also okay. So both portions have frontage and will keep their frontage on Lagan Glenelg Road. In this case, both lot frontage are not compliant with the zoning bylaw, so we're now acknowledging both. And then the important points here, so it's a dwelling, it's gonna remain a dwelling, the fields are gonna remain fields, we're just basically creating a new lot. There's two buildings, as I explained, single family is kept on the residential portion, and the agricultural building is staying with the agricultural portion, building with the portion, so it's okay there. And in this case, there's only one existing driveway that's currently being used for both the dwelling and the field. And because this is on a county road, because of their entranceway bylaw, the owner would not be permitted another entrance there because they're on an 80-kilometer zone. There's already entrances, the stop sign, etc. So there will not be a new entrance for the field. The owner will have, with their lawyer, to create an agreement between the farmland and the residential land as a shared driveway, so split the cost of the entrance, etc. So in this case, there's only one entrance, and it's gonna remain like that for the fields. The field could also be accessed via neighboring fields also, but for the entrance, there's no additional entrance being permitted here. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So the river's there. There you go. That's my little close-up here. We have received a comment from the Raisin River, of course. So there's already, like, the river crosses the property. There's already a bridge, like a little bridge, private bridge for the driveway. That's permitted to stay. Any alteration or whatsoever to that bridge or to the surrounding areas of the river, they will have to get a clearance certificate from Raisin Region. So that's the comment we received for that file. Aside from that, SDG did not provide any other comments. Building-wise, we're also okay because the farm building is staying over with the farmland, so that's perfect. So that's the driveway. That's a view from Lagan Glenelg Road. I think I have it in the pictures, but it's really close to the stop sign, so that's why the entranceway is an issue. The Lagan Glenelg School is right there on our left. That's a long driveway leading to a house way at the other end. And when you get there, so that's the dwelling. That's being severed off, so the septic is right there on the right-hand side. And the other picture is the existing barn / agricultural storage, which is on the ag lands. And so, oh, that's not the right pictures right there. So there you go. So according to Planning Act, these bylaws are permitted to be passed by council. The PPS and SDG official plan, as you know, again, it's our typical surplus dwelling, so they permit these kinds of lot creation in ag lands as long as they're being kept to a minimum acreage to keep as much agricultural lands as possible. So this is the case here, as you saw. That's why the flag lot is permitted in this case. So in conclusion, based on the criteria above, the proposed zoning bylaw amendment conforms to the policies of the SDG official plan, consistent with the PPS, and it's compliant with the Township of North Glengarry zoning bylaw. And again, voting for this bylaw will occur at the subsequent council meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions from members of council? Go ahead, Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jacob, on the driveway, they could just come off, they could use that same driveway, but come off and then go into the field, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I'm not exactly sure how the lawyer will write that, but of course, the farmer will not have access to the entire thing. He'll
Right.
just have access for a certain portion. So when they do the survey, they will create a part that's the right of way for both,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Right.
And just a follow-up, if I could. Just wondering, do you know anything about there's probably 30 acres there that is treed?
Up to now, there's no application for clear cutting.
No.
The company who bought it are big farmers in the Dalkeith area. I'm assuming they'll apply for the clear cutting. They apply for all when they're clear cutting, so eventually they may,
Yeah,
but
okay.
no,
Just
nothing
curious.
on it yet.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And go ahead, Councilor Martin.
The bridge and the driveway, who would be responsible for maintaining that? Would it be shared responsibility or?
Well, I would assume that the lawyer will create the zone before the bridge, so the bridge will stay only on, just to avoid complications in the future. But I'm not sure 100% up to where the right-of-way will be. I assume that it will be just like Councillor Manley said, just you get in the driveway and then you go in the field. So there's no, because, I mean, why create this big issue for nothing, but why?
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Madden.
It's not going to be our issue, but I'm going to say they're going to have to share that bridge because they're going to need to get to the fields on the other side of the river. That's their only one over, right? Unless they own
I think
the, but there's no other crossings on that bridge because those fields are severed by the
Right,
river.
true, yeah,
So
exactly.
they're gonna
Right.
have to
They
go over the
may,
bridge
that's
and-
right, that's
yeah.
right, correct, yeah. that's
Unless they
true.
own beside it and they can get to those fields from, you know,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
they
know what they
do.
own, but
Why?
it's, and their
That's
issue
true,
with the lawyers.
that's right,
but,
Councillor
yeah.
Manley, yeah.
You know, you're always surprised, eh? Good job, good job. Any other questions or comments before we go see if there are any public comments? Seeing none, Jenna? Oh, you're doing it.
Yeah,
You guys got to make your minds up here.
yeah. Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? Second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? And a third and final time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented?
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Z05 2026, Andre Chenier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the location for this file, 21104 McCormick Road, Alexandria. So it's right there, as you can see, east of Alexandria on McCormick Road, heading towards Glen Robertson. It's that property right there. So it's the entire property we're rezoning here. I'll explain it a bit later, but so the creek is actually the property line right now. This property has been severed before, so as you'll see in the existing zoning right now. So this is actually a severance that occurred from the fields, from the agricultural land. So it's like a surplus dwelling. As you can see on there, before they were permitting bigger lots to be severed off agricultural land. So this property is, I think, 7 acres or something like that. So it was permitted back in the day, but a layer to prohibit agricultural activities on the land was still applied on this property. So that's why it's shaped like this. Sorry. Again, a little bit closer. So the purpose for this application is to apply for a secondary dwelling. Right now, that's the proposed location, so just between the dwelling and the accessory buildings. But the reason why I put that there is basically just because currently it's proposed there, but we're rezoning the whole property, so the owner could put it wherever he want. It's just easier zoning wise to do that instead of a specific zoning location to change. So that's the purpose for this application right here. So to rezone the property from general agricultural special exception 118, so that's currently to prohibit agricultural uses, which is going to stay on the property. But we're rezoning it to exception 281, so we're not rescinding the other bylaw, we're just passing a new one to permit a secondary dwelling on the property. So in this case, it's most likely going to be just south of the dwelling, but the entire property is rezoned. So the effect of this application is the owner will be allowed to apply for another home on the property. So the official plan, agricultural resource lands. Zoning designation, as I mentioned, so as you can see, the 118 is there, and we do not see it, but the surroundings on the south is 119. So the 119 prohibits residential, and this one prohibits agricultural. I don't know the exact year of when this happened, but it was prior to the keep it to a minimum acreage. So 7.54 acres, irregular shape, so it has 126 meter on McCormick Road. All the, so in agricultural lands for residential use, all of our zoning requirements are being met here. So acreage is big enough, lot frontage, all the setbacks are okay, there's lots of room on the property. There's currently 4 buildings. There's a single-family dwelling, and then there's 3 other accessory residential storage buildings on the property. Everything remains. Existing civic number remains also. What we're redoing here is we're just going to have another accessory building, which is going to have a dwelling in it. So that's why we need to pass a zoning bylaw, because there's only 1 permitted in agricultural lands right now. So again, that's the proposed location. That's a picture of where it would be. So the building you see on the left-hand side is one of the accessory buildings. So it would be right where the trees are right there. The way it's set up, so the existing septic system is in front of that house right there. So most likely going to have another septic system or a pump pumping in the existing. The owner will see when snow melts and when he can get a designer in there. Regardless though, the lot is big enough, so there's no environmental issues. They're gonna use the existing well for the two buildings most likely, so no problems for septic system on this property. Again, two other pictures right there. So that's the one on the top is the house view from the road, and the one on the bottom is the road. So as you can see, it's on McCormick Road. There's lots of room. No issues for the entrance also. They're gonna use the same entrance for the other building as well. Stormwater, not a problem. We would be able to issue a new civic number for the new house. So again, what we do is either on the same post or one on each side of the driveway. Sometimes people like that to guide them also on where the driveway is. So either or, we're allowed to, there's lots of room for another civic number. Besides that, no river, no railway, so no required setback. Everything else is pretty much pretty straightforward here. So Planning Act allows for bylaws such as this one, PPS and official plan. So as you know, the push for more homes was permitted, so this is encouraged by the province, although it does require a zoning bylaw because we're outside of urban settlement areas with full services. We need to pass a bylaw just to check for septic, well, etc. In this case, there's no issues whatsoever. So in conclusion, the proposed zoning bylaw conforms to the policies of SDG official plan, consistent with the PPS, and it's compliant, or it will be compliant with the Township of North Glengarry zoning bylaw. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. You know, I know this is for building more homes, but I can't imagine in the future when the resale on these and trying to sell two homes on the same property it's going to be, yeah. Councillor Madden?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know they're not asking for it here. I'm just thinking about, this is 7.5 acres, so it's one of these that's kind of abnormally sized. If they built this in, say, the east side of the property where there's not too much, is there a possibility that they could go for a severance in the future?
As of today, the answer is no. They would not be able to separate the houses.
Just because of the zoning bylaws?
Just because it's agricultural lands.
Okay,
You can't create another lot in agricultural land unless it's a surplus dwelling to the needs of a farming operation.
Right.
Here, it doesn't apply because there's no farming operation.
so they're kind of stuck in a limbo that doesn't
Oh, they're
really make
stuck, yeah.
sense.
Until the official plan and the province changes the policies that you cannot
Yeah.
create
Okay.
this will stay forever like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's one of those that actually makes sense that it could be severed in the future. you know?
Yeah, and
But-
who knows if the official plan
Yep.
changes too, but I did explain it to Mr. Cheny, fully aware of it, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
Go ahead, Councillor Massey.
Just one comment on Councillor Manley point earlier from when we look at these maps, the new maps from Northern Gary and the trees portion of the thing, it's kind of scary when you look at the overview of the neighboring farms, like, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the point that you made over there too, and we haven't seen I don't know, never noticed it before, but it's getting slim, yeah. Anyway, just a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, nope, agreed. Any further questions or comments? Michael?
Does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? Second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented? Third and final time, does anyone wish to speak in favor or against the application being presented?
Okay, thank you. Okay, last one, Z06 2026, Michael Gregoire.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there's no civic number for this property. It's basically, well, it's on the corner of Kenyon Concession 1 and Kenyon Concession 1. It's where it turns just south of the township. I'll show it later, but there's no civic address right now. It's in Apple Hill. So that's where it is. So you see the yellow box there is Apple Hill. So it's just between Apple Hill and Alexandria on the South Glengarry border. So that's the property right there. So that's what I mean. So basically, this lot is on the corner of Kenyon 1 and Kenyon 1. It turns into Chapel Road, just it's very confusing over there, but Kenyon 1 changes into Chapel Road, but the curve, anyway, you all know what I'm talking about. The north border for this property is CP Railway, and south is actually the border with South Glengarry, and as you can see, it's all wooded lands there. So that's the purpose of the application right there. It's to rezone, sorry. So the purpose of the application is to rezone. So I made it a little bit more specific here because we're only rezoning the rural portion of the property. So south, which is the greener portion, from rural to rural exception RU-26 to permit a secondary dwelling, a duplex or a semi-detached as defined in the Ontario Building Code on the subject land. So we had to word it like that because, of course, with all the wetlands, no one can build in there. There's this thing for push for more homes, so people are allowed to build more homes. In this case, the owner could create more lots. They could sever 2 new lots on this property. Their goal for now is not to do that. So it's 2 brothers who bought the property, and they will build. It's like they call it a barn dominium with 2 dwellings on each side. So guy lives there, big garage in the middle. Another brother will live on the other side. So that's why that's why it's worded like that. So it's not really a secondary dwelling, as it will be in the same building. It's not a duplex either because it's not split in half. It's really just 2 dwellings that will be in the same building. They call them barn dominium style. It's getting more and more popular. But anyway, it will have to be built on the south portion. So only where the rural is. They will have to get clearance from region regardless because of the wetlands on the property. But because we're zoned as such, it's been evaluated, so there's no wetlands where they will build. The water may be high, but they're still allowed to construct there. And I'll show it later, but there's, like, as I mentioned, even though we're doing that now, the owner could still like sever off a new lot from like that little rectangle off the east-west portion. So there's lots of options with this property. We're just rezoning the entire rural zone right now. So the effect of this application would be that the owner can build the building with the 2 dwellings in it. So official plan designation, rural district, and our zoning designation, so it's rural and wetlands. Only the rural portion is being rezoned. So in this case, as I mentioned, the secondary dwelling, it's currently a semi-detached style. It could change. The owner could decide to do 2 completely different buildings. They could decide to do something. That's why it's worded like that. It's just not to prevent them from doing anything based on the wording of our zoning bylaw. So it's a little bit more specific in this case. It's currently vacant, treed. It's 27 acres, and right there, that's the number. So there's approximately 10 acres of rural lands and 17 of wetlands. So the 10 acres on the south portion is being rezoned, and there's lots of room. So currently, it's only 1 acre you need for rural property. In our new zoning bylaw, it will be 2. So as you can see, there's still lots of room to create more lots. It's not the goal right now. So as far as frontage, so there's 40 meters of frontage on Kenyon 1 on the east-west portion. So right now, this is where the entrance is proposed to be. So on the port, like in between the existing dwellings. But there is also frontage on the north-south portion of Kenyon 1, which they also could use as entrances. So that's what I mean for new properties. There's lots of room for entrance, for frontage, and etc. So that's the, I'm standing on the east-west portion, and that's where the entrance will be. So it's in between existing dwelling units. That's if I'm standing pretty much on the corner and looking north. So as you can see right now, it's all treed, so there's nothing right there. It's vacant. There is there's only the setbacks from the wetlands. Of course, they will need the clearance certificate and the setback from the CP railway. But the CP railway will be less than what the wetland zone is, so it should not impact the dwelling at all. Of course, new class 4 septic system will have to be evaluated also because we know that the water is high. The owner is fully aware of that, and then the private well will be required. So that's, I'm standing right in the middle of the entrance right there. So the barn dominium building will be like right in the opening that you see north there. And that's again just a picture of the property just to show it's all wooded right now. So this is pretty much same as the other one. So these are encouraged by the province. In this case, it's vacant, but direct impact of the cost of building and etc. In this case, two brothers bought the property together and they want to have two different dwellings, of course. So that's also encouraged. Secondary dwellings in rural district are permitted as such. So no issues environmentally speaking, pending studies from septic and from wetlands and etc. So, yeah. In conclusion, based on the criteria above, the proposed zoning amendment conforms to the policies of SDG official plan, consistent with the PPS, and it will be compliant with the Township of North Glengarry zoning bylaw. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions from members of council? Nothing? Go ahead.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor against the application being presented? Second time, does anyone wish to speak in favor against the application being presented? The third and final time, does anyone wish to speak in favor against the application being presented?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
And motion to adjourn, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley. There being no further business discussed, the public meeting of planning was adjourned at 5:58 PM.
All those in favor? Motion is carried. None opposed. We'll take a 2-minute break and get started right into the council meeting. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular meeting of council for March 23rd, 2026. If I could please ask everyone to stand for the national anthem. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to members of council, staff, and the public. Call the meeting to order. Are there any declaration of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, motion to accept the agenda. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry accepts the agenda of the regular meeting of council on Monday, March the 23rd, 2026.
Okay, thank you. I would like to add in under administrative departments, or sorry, maybe under the new business. I'd like to do what we got from the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus in regards to the Alto train. I would like to pass a resolution that was sent to us from the Wardens Caucus.
As long as you have to read it.
Did you check your last page? You probably shouldn't be late. All those in favor of the motion as amended? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay, moving on to adoption of the previous minutes. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as circulated. Regular meeting of council minutes, Monday, February 23rd, 2026.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. There are no delegations this evening. Moving on to staff reports. Administrative Department, use of corporate resources during an election year. Councillor Madden.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report AD 05-2026, use of corporate resources during election year policy, and that Council adopts the use of corporate resources during election year policy, being a policy to provide direction to members of council and all staff on the administration of corporate resources with respect to election campaign matters, and the council approves bylaw 18-2026, being a bylaw to adopt the use of corporate resources during an election year policy, and that bylaw 18-2026 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 23rd day of March 2026.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. And I believe, Jenna, you're presenting on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in preparation of the upcoming municipal election in October and in accordance with the Municipal Elections Act, the township shall adopt a policy governing the use of municipal resources during an election period. The policy provides direction to council, staff, and candidates and volunteers on the appropriate use of the municipal property, which includes communications, technologies, facilities, and other resources, outlines permitted uses, and sets restrictions on staff involvement and campaigning activities to ensure the compliance with the act is maintained and the fairness is also maintained in the election process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Pretty straightforward. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Thank you, Jenna. Moving on to Community Services Department, CS 2026-08, ACHC Committee vacancy. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden. The Council of the Township of North Glengarry received staff report CS 2026-08, Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee vacancy, and that the Council acknowledges that the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee currently has 4 lay members, which is fewer than the minimum of 5 lay members referenced in the committee's term of reference, and that Council considered the limited number of remaining meetings in the Council committee term and the minimal value of a new appointment would add at this time direct staff not to fill the vacancy for the remainder of this term.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as council will recall, back in December, we presented an updated terms of reference from the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee, which identifies that vacancies will be brought to the attention of council, and in the event the vacancy results in less than 5 laypersons on that committee, the vacancy shall be filled as soon as practicable with another suitable representative. After further consideration of the remaining term that's in place for the existing iteration of the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee, staff recommend that there is no real value in bringing on an additional new committee member at this time, with there being 4 remaining meetings left in this term of the committee. By the time we were to go through a diligent recruitment process, onboard a new member, get them familiar with the intention of the committee, we just don't see that there would be value added. I should also note that the vacancy has been in place since September of 2024, at which time the remaining 4 committee members or lay members of that committee have expressed no concerns with proceeding, and we've also had no issues meeting quorum with our committee meetings. So as such, we're recommending to council, despite the terms of reference in place, that council support proceeding with those 4 lay members at this time until the next iteration of the Arts, Culture and Heritage Committee.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments?
Just one
Go ahead,
comment.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just thinking in those terms of reference that have already been adopted, just maybe go in and flag them and add that in for when it comes around again, that, if it's less than a year left in the council term or something, that they don't necessarily need to fill the vacancy. I mean, ideally, it doesn't happen again, but it's just one of those things that now we know it's maybe worth changing up when they come into review again.
Yep, very good point.
Yeah, we can do that when you bring back the terms of reference at the beginning of the next council at that point. Yep. Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. And moving on to 2, CS 2026-09, GDHS Tennis Court Partnership. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of Township of North Glengarry receive staff report CS 2026-09, Glengarry District High School Tennis Court Partnership, and the Council directs staff to proceed with drafting an agreement in partnership with the Upper Canada District School Board surrounding community use of the Glengarry District High School tennis courts, and the Council approves the allocation of $10,000 from the Alexandria Recreation Association's 2026 capital budget to contribute towards the tennis court resurfacing project.
Okay, thank you. Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council will recall back in the fall, whenever staff presented the 2026 proposed Municipal Recreation Association Committee capital projects, that the Alexandria Recreation Association was looking to have their $10,000 allotment put towards a joint partnership initiative with the Glengarry District High School, in which the school is in need of resurfacing their existing tennis courts. So following, other council meetings that have taken place, staff have gone back and engaged the Upper Canada District School Board on what this partnership could look like, and to understand what some of the terms of a potential agreement could look like. Again, to bring back to council for further discussion and support of moving forward, if council deems it to be appropriate. Through this process, I've learned a lot about the history of the tennis courts at the Glengarry District High School. It's a very unique history, and I have to give due credit to Stanley Fraser for his incredible knowledge and history lesson that he gave me on, where those tennis courts have come from. Very interesting that they were installed back in 1970 through the support of Ontario funding, with an intention at that time that they were always to be used as community courts and open to the general public. And the school has committed to me that the gate that is associated to the fencing that surround the courts remains open at all times and accessible to the public. But the Upper Canada District School Board is grateful for the possible contribution by the Alexandria Recreation Association through the township, if agreed to, and would be supportive of coming to an agreement, with potential terms in place. So back in February, CIO Fothrop and myself did meet with representatives of the school board to discuss what some of these terms of the agreement could look like. So the main piece being access, and obviously if the township is contributing funds towards the resurfacing project, we want to ensure that there is going to be a commitment of access to the community. So the school board expressed no concerns with community access to the courts outside of school hours. So recognizing that school hours end around 2:10 p.m. During weekdays, community access would then be granted after 3 p.m. on weekdays in order to give adequate time for students and buses to exit. As the courts are not illuminated, therefore access would generally be daily from 3 p.m. until dusk, and likewise full access on weekends during daylight hours. And of course, during the summer months, whenever school is out, courts would be fully accessible to the public during that time when we expect the most use of them. In addition to access, we did talk about, ongoing maintenance and repairs, and the school board committed that expenses associated to minor repairs, such as replacing the netting of the tennis courts, they would continue to support. While they did express if there were any kind of larger expenses, such as replacing an actual tennis court post, they would like to build in some wording to have the township partner on the replacement costs. Parking, the school also expressed no concerns with having users who are coming to access the court use their parking spaces. They didn't express any concerns with that. It should be noted that there is gates that restrict vehicular traffic from accessing the rear side of the school, but there is adequate parking spaces in the front and still would be pedestrian access to go around the gates and access. In addition to access off of Hope Street, there is a pathway that leads into the rear of the school towards the courts. Insurance and liability, the school board would be willing to cover insurance costs associated to student use during their access hours, while the township would be responsible for liability associated to any community use outside of school hours, and both organizations would have to agree to provide certificates of liability, naming the other as an additional insured, which is generally quite standard. So at this time, in order for the school board to be able to proceed with seeking out the remaining costs associated to fulfilling this project, they are seeking the township's written commitment that we would be willing to support this project in the amount of the $10,000 for them to proceed with securing any remaining funds needed to complete this project. So next steps, ideally, if council was supportive of moving forward with drafting a written agreement, the school board could then prepare, what that draft agreement would look like and come back to council for final approval, subject to some of the terms that we discussed today. Ideally, they'd like to see the project completed by summer of 2026, which would be wonderful, but nonetheless, they still need to seek out securing available funds to secure the remaining costs associated to this project. But subject to any of council's questions, this is kind of a preliminary discussion of possible agreements. I should also note too that in my research of these types of relationships with school boards, I have noted 2 other similar municipalities across Ontario who have recently entered into similar agreements with their local school boards to have similar projects such as tennis courts or community access to soccer fields done up in an agreement. What I've heard back from these municipalities is that relationships have been favorable, with the community kind of grateful for the added recreation at a low cost to the community. As we know, recreation is not getting any cheaper to replace and repair, so nonetheless, these are kind of creative opportunities to have some partnerships. But subject to any questions.
Okay,
that's it.
thank you, Stephanie. That's great news. And I'd like to play on those courts, and so it's great for the public to have another venue to go to. So I know at the park, we kind of have changed, and we have to upgrade there eventually. And we made one of the courts a pickleball court. Is there any thoughts about making one, because I believe there's 4 courts up at the high school, making one of those a pickleball court?
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pickleball was definitely a part of the discussion with the school board. And I think there was a commitment that at minimum, one of the courts would also be, lined effectively to have pickleball access as well.
Okay, that's great. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, that is very refreshing news that the school board is coming on side for this partnership. It really indicates that they're wanting to be, involved in these kinds of community projects, and I think that this is a wonderful partnership. And thanks to Stanley and yourself and the CAO for bringing this together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of thoughts. One, presuming we get ahead with this, what's our status at the park? Do we still have the 2 courts that can be used, or is one of them actually condemned at this point?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, last summer, we were unable to open the second of the 2 courts at the park, just again due to the risk associated to the damages with the cracks. The goal would be now with the snow hopefully clearing once again, we'll have a better opportunity to assess the status of both courts and see the condition of the first court. Ideally, we would like to be able to run with at least 1 court again this summer. But again, we'll probably make that determination over the next few weeks, subject to weather conditions improving.
So following on that, presuming we have 1 or no courts there, and this goes ahead, we already have the partnership with them, maybe sign at the park that says tennis courts available at the high school, right?
Sure.
Just to direct people and make them aware. And 2, if there is a company coming in to resurface these courts at the high school, let's at least have their info. But 2, should there be any money available anywhere, I'm looking around, I mean, if we could piggyback on it, that would be absolutely incredible. I know we got to do a full depth thing at the park, and it's going to be a little more expensive. It's not just a straight resurface, but just, maybe we can get a little info out of them, or just maybe an inside track as far as how to make it a little more affordable.
Definitely,
Just, get as much info out of it as we can.
for sure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Is it Chris from Ottawa that's providing the tennis court?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure who the school board has in their early kind of investigation of costs associated to the project. I'm not sure who their provider was. They would have to go to tender for this
Right.
initiative to occur. So I'm not 100% sure who they've received their quotes from in the past. But yes, Chris is well known with our township courts. I believe he's worked on some of them in the past, and we've gone to him as well for recent quotes with the existing Island Park project.
Great, thank you. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. Moving on to Treasury Department, TR 2026-03, 2026 Tax Rate Bylaw. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number TR 2026-03, 2026 Tax Rate Bylaw 16-2026, and that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt Bylaw 16-2026, being a bylaw to adopt the tax rates for the year 2026, and that the Bylaw 16-2026 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 23rd day of March 2026.
Thank you, Councillor. Welcome, Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On January 12, 2026, Council approved the 2026 operating and capital budget. The municipal tax rate was calculated based on the tax levy required. The tax rate requirement for the United Counties of SDNG and the Education Board were also taken into consideration. A total amount of $18.7 million tax dollars are required for 2026. Of this amount, 46% will be sent to the United Counties, 14% will be sent to the school boards, and the remaining 40% will remain in the township. The 2026 municipal portion of the taxes will increase by 4.75%. This will result in an increase of approximately $143 annually for the average assessed household in North Glengarry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Moving on to TR 2026-04, 2025 Statement of Remuneration and Expenses. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number TR 2026-04, 2025, Statement of Remuneration and Expenses for Information Purposes.
Okay, thank you. Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a requirement under the Municipal Act to bring forward a report on expenses paid to members of council and the local board each year before the end of March. The attached schedule shows the breakdown by member of 2025 expenditures. These costs are included annually in the budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. TR 2026-05, 2025 Reserve Update. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move on myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number TR 2026-05, 2025 Reserve Update, and that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry approves the transfers to and from reserves as outlined in Schedule A.
Okay, thank you. Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All transfers to and from reserves must be approved by council. This report summarizes all of the transfers to and from reserves that occurred in 2025. Council will note that the majority have already been approved through either the 2025 budget or throughout the year by council resolution, but are still included in this report to provide a clear picture on the current status of reserves. Items of note include that the township received $163,000 from WSIB as a surplus distribution. Additionally, the township received funds from the sale of land for County Road 22. Throughout 2025, the township had a few unplanned situations that required transfer from reserves. This included the completion of the generator installation at the GSP, the hot water system at the GSP, and the emergency failure of the chiller at the GSP. All three charges were taken from reserves. Schedule A shows the transfers to and from reserves and the ending 2025 balance. In 2025, there was a net decrease of $75,000, which will bring the 2025 ending reserve balance to $7.89 million. Further information will be brought back to council following the 2025 audit to review the reserve accounts and make recommendations regarding consolidations and transfers to better align with the township's needs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thanks for adding that bit at the end that you're gonna come back after the audited financial statements, because you know, I think we can probably manage to be a little more strategic with how we're kind of handling our reserves, and a good discussion around the council table, I think, would be in order. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Further questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
Can we put that conversation in a committee of the whole so that we have enough time and openness to discuss that?
Sure.
I think
Yep,
it's
we can do that.
probably the right place for it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good suggestion. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. TR 2026-06, amending user fees and charges bylaw. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive staff report number TR 2026-06, amending user fees and charges bylaw 2026, and that Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives bylaw 2026, being a bylaw to amend the user fees and charges to the Township of North Glengarry. That the bylaw 2026 be read a first, second, and third time in open council's 23rd day of March 2026.
Thank you, Councillor. Zoe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Staff have collaborated on the annual updates for the fees and charges bylaw. Each department has reviewed their section in detail and provided recommended changes in the attached schedule. Major changes include updating rates within the Building, Bylaw, and Planning Department to better reflect actuals and to gradually increase the charges to align with surrounding municipalities. The Community Services Department provided a full review of rates to ensure the continued offering of affordable programming. As such, rates were adjusted to be more reflective of the actual costs. Additional programming was also included and clarification was provided. The water and sewer rates were increased by 2% as per the 2026 budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Just a question about the drop-in shinny. I don't understand the difference between the drop-in shinny with the charge. Oh, no charge. No, hang on, drop-in adult shinny, there's a charge. No charge for minors. And then the shinny that is new, that's no charge. I was confused by that.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I can clarify that to Deputy Mayor Williams. Previously, we used to always charge a $5 drop-in fee for a shinny that was put on by the township. So what we've done is adjusted that so that shinny aligns with public skating, where we're not charging a fee anymore for those township scheduled shinny and public skating. And this is also a part of our strategy to support the upbringing of our next generation of hockey within the community as well, and encourage people to get out and play shinny and hockey amongst themselves. What we've done in place of that is we do from time to time have groups of youth or teenagers who stop in at the arena whenever there is no ice rentals in place and they'd like to just go on the ice and play amongst themselves. For those times where they haven't booked a scheduled time slot and it's during non-prime time hours, staff would let them go on the ice. But in those cases, we would charge, a $5 per player or whatever the rate I believe I'd written here based on adult versus youth. Just to, make sure we're compensating revenue in those circumstances. But that's kind of the main differences between drop-in shinny, kind of similar to what we have at the Dome, where if there's no one on the turf, a group of friends can come in and play soccer for a bit on the turf with the turf drop-in rate, similar to what we're creating for the ice rinks as well.
Thanks, that's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, great. Just glad we're not putting up the old blades cost, because I get 20 phone calls from senior gentlemen that aren't happy when it goes up 50 cents, so. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Just
Councilor.
another thing too is the conversation we had with the minor hockey in Alexandria. They're trying to boost participation, so this would be one way to freeze shinny for the kids.
Go ahead, Councilor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as a go forward on this, sort of over the next year before this comes back to us again, can we just get departments with a heads up to sort of think about anything that's not being captured in this? I know there's some services that are not being, so just in the interest of, making sure all's fair and all compensation is properly apportioned, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, absolutely, we can do that for sure.
Okay. Further questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Thank you, Zoe. Moving on to Building, Planning, and Bylaw Department, BP 2026-07, Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z01 2026, LCM Canal. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt zoning bylaw Z01 2026 and that bylaw Z01 2026 be read a first, second, third time and enacted in open council 23rd day of March 2026.
Okay, thank you. Jacob?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Zoning bylaw Z01 2026, the applicant was Fermel Sam Canel, address 19442 Kenyon Concession Road 8. This was presented during the public planning of meeting at the 23rd of February meeting. So the purpose for this application was to rezone the retained portion of the consent application 68-2025, so 101 acre, to prohibit residential development and to acknowledge the deficiency in lot frontage from 200 to 139, and to also rezone the residential portion, so the 1.5 acre, to prohibit agricultural uses. The application was circulated as per Planning Act, mailed, posted on the property, and we have received no further comments from any members of the public or any other agencies. Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? We've all seen this, so all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. BP 2026-08 zoning bylaw amendment Z02 2026 High Oak Farms. Councillor Martin.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt zoning bylaw number Z02, 2026, and that the bylaw number Z02, 2026 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council on this 23rd day of March, 2026.
Okay, thank you. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the applicant for this one, High Oaks Farms, 21495 Brody Road in Dalkeith. So this was presented during, again, the same public meeting of planning on February 23rd. The purpose for this application was to rezone the retained portion, so the 49-acre portion of the severance, to prohibit residential development, to acknowledge the lot frontage deficiency from 200 to 110, and to acknowledge the lot area from 74 to the existing 49-acre. And it was also to rezone the severed portion, so the residential portion, 1 acre, to prohibit agricultural uses. So again, this file was circulated as per Planning Act. No further comments from members of the public or any other agencies. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Next, we have BP 2026-09 zoning bylaw amendment Z03 2026, Ron Theora, 27 units. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt zoning bylaw number Z03 2026, and that bylaw number Z03 2026 be read first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 23rd day of March 2026.
Okay, thank you. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I did a quick presentation, quick recap on this zoning bylaw amendment. So the owner, Monsieur and Madame Théoret, location currently known as 43 Kincardine Street East in Alexandria. So it's that property. So there's Bishop Dominion, Kincardine. So it's the whole corner there that we're rezoning from institutional to R4-9. So the R4 is to do the apartment buildings, and the -9 is to acknowledge the deficiencies in our current zoning bylaw, which are lot coverage from the maximum permitted 35 to the proposed 40, landscape area to the minimum required 35 to the proposed 30, deficiency in exterior sides, so east and west from Dominion and Bishop, from the existing 9-meter required setback to the proposed 2.8, to acknowledge the front yard setback from 9 to 7.5, 5.7, the rear yard setback from 9 to 4.4, and to acknowledge the deficiency in parking spaces from the current required 41 spaces to the proposed 31, and this is all to permit a 27-unit, one-story residential apartment development on the property. So the reason for all these setbacks, as you know, it's because the owner already has the site plan proposed, so we were able to, just to avoid him having to do minor variance in the future, we're passing the zoning bylaw, acknowledging all these deficiencies in the setback at the same time. That's the proposed site plan. So I've had many discussions with the owner on the property. There are a lot of comments that came that are dealing more with site plan control step, which is totally fine. I understand. I had discussions with the neighbor about the property, and parking seems to be a bit of a concern for neighboring landowners, rightfully so. We are lacking parking everywhere in Alexandria. So in this case, the owner may have found a solution to provide a bit more parking. So as I explained, from Dominion Street, it's impossible to have an access there because of grading. There's a step, the owner will have a retaining wall there. As you can see there, the big fire lane, the garbage enclosure is right at the end of the fire lane. So that is not an issue, but a concern. So based on Public Works, new for garbage, so the owner has to get a private contractor. The garbage contractor in this case said, it's okay, it's possible in a perfect world where no one parks in the fire lane. Some people sometimes will be parked in the fire lane. They should not be parked in the fire lane, but it may happen, and that may cause some issues with him having to back up all the way onto the street. So with that, and with the lack of parking, with the deficiency in parking spaces, the owner may propose to, again, this is all at site plan stage, but may propose to do another entrance just north of the existing fire lane, so at the back of that building, another entrance just for the garbage enclosure. So it would just be there, the garbage just pulls in, there's an opening, a little bit like here, like it's all enclosed for, like there's no visual nuisance. He opens the gate, takes the garbage, unloads the garbage bins, put it back there, close the gates. What that creates is, one, easier for him, two, less issues with potential, like with cars and stuff in the fire lane, and also the owner would be able to add in some more parking space at the end of that fire lane. So that may be a proposal. It will most likely be a proposal if at site plan, if council is aware. So that parking deficiency from 41 to 31. We may see maybe something like 34, 35 parking spaces, depending on how it's set up. But that's one of the things that the owner discussed. We are proposing to keep the 27 unit as such, based on the facts that I explained during the planning presentation with the existing building line and et cetera. So the owner decided to keep it at 27 with the proposed setback. And on this, so this is what it would look like. So very similar looks to what he did on St. James, the 5-unit building. So nice apartment building. So, oh, sorry, it's really small. I tried to do a little table here just to demonstrate the impact. So we're rezoning to R4 because we have no choice. It's apartments, but our zoning bylaw is older, and it's the R1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 being the apartment complex. So it's really made for intensification with a building that you're less apartment, like less square footage at the footprint, but you're going high. And I just tried to demonstrate that with this little table here. So as you can see, the left column is what's proposed. The column right after is R4. This is what we're currently asking for reductions from. So as you can see, they're all mostly non-compliant, as you know. Some percentage are pretty high, but again, we're only going one story here, so we're spreading them a lot more, and that's why we're asking for such big variances. So I just made the R1 and the R2 here just to show, as you can see, so the open space and the parking would be made compliant. Of course, there's no real parking requirement for R1, but the one I want to emphasize on is the last column. So it's called new R3, 11 units or more. So in our new zoning bylaw that we have to pass according to provincial regulations with the OP and et cetera, so we'll have R1, which is 1, 2, or 3 dwelling units, R2, that is 4 to 10, and then we'll have R3, that is 11 or more units. So the intensification is no longer 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just 1, 2, 3. 3 being the most. You can have townhomes, you can have apartments, you can have whatever you want. If there's more than 11 units, you go in the R3. That being said, I marked what's proposed. So all the 6 townships and the counties met with a contractor who kind of revamped all of our zoning bylaws. So some of the townships have already passed theirs. We have not yet, but we will. But based on the numbers that we have on that was proposed by this firm, by this professional planner firm, these are the setbacks that would have been applied on this current development here. So the numbers, so I just wanted to show here. So instead of like the front yard setback, we're currently asking for a 37% reduction in the new zoning bylaw. So if we would have passed that new zoning bylaw, which we will, the setback required is only 6 meters. So it's only a 5% reduction instead of 37. And same thing goes for north. Instead of 51, it's actually only a 41%. and the two sides, so exterior side, west and east, Dominion and Bishop, we're currently asking for a 9-meter reduction. So because of the setup of the way the buildings are made in the new R3, the percent of reduction would only be 20%. So also keeping in mind that the province already said that if you have a variance in such developments with residential development that is 10% or less, you no longer even need a minor variance. So they're kind of giving you the 10% now for residential development like that, just to avoid, because it's minor, it should pass, so they're just trying to expedite that. So keeping that in mind, many of these setbacks become pretty close to what they're supposed to be. So basically, I just wanted to clarify that. And then the 4 of the columns, building height, lot coverage, open space, and parking would all be compliant in that new zoning. So anyway, I just made that little table to show that it looks pretty drastic, the changes, because in this case, we're going only 1 story flat instead of intensifying in height. This is just to try to demonstrate that to council, basically. That being said, again, a few pictures of the property. So sorry for the misunderstanding in the wording, Councillor Madden. We did get the two new comments, but they were circulated to council. So council were made aware of these 2 comments. So that's why, besides these 2 comments, we have not received any additional complaints. So the way the planning acts work, all of the names of the people who expressed their concerns are all recorded. They are all allowed for appeal, etc., according to planning act. So that's why it's important to know that they have submitted their comments. They're all noted. But aside from these comments, we have received no additional comments from members of the public or any other agencies. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Madden and Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to go back to the table, Jacob, I mean, essentially, if Ron brought this to us 3 months, 4 months from now, we'd be looking at
Far right
significantly smaller reductions.
Correct. So basically, there would only be 3 requirements that
Yep.
would not be compliant, because the 5% would be deemed compliant because that 10% the province said to let
Yep.
go. And the other 2 are 20 on each side and 41 at the max. So,
Yep.
yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Massey.
So we went by the R4 requirements
Yes.
to base this, so in the lot coverage, he asked for from 35%, which was our R4, I think, in the lot coverage,
Yep.
to the proposed 30.
He proposes 40 lot coverage.
Okay, so basically, the new bylaw will be R3, the new R3, which is 50.
Yes, so he's under
Okay.
that.
You're allowed to cover 50% of your lot with your building in the new bylaw.
Okay, but he's over that now, it'll be 60.
No, he's,
So he's currently covering 40% of his property with the
Okay.
buildings. Right now, he's only allowed to cover 35%. But
Okay.
in the new bylaw, this goes up to 50%.
Okay.
So he would be considered okay, yeah.
Okay. I have a problem too with the people that will be, the apartments that will be on Kincardine. If they want to move the garbage, they'll have to walk through, all that row of houses or units will have to walk all the way through everybody's lawn to get to the garbage disposal.
They would, but if the garbage bin's at the other end, the guy at the southeast has the same problem. It's
Yeah,
either
but at
or.
least their units are facing in that fire lane, but not the other people that are facing the others. And then, but my question is, would maybe if we put garbage on Kincardine, would that work? Would the pick it, anyways, it's just,
We could, yes, these are all options that we can, so on Kincardine, there's not a whole lot so the road allowance it goes past the pavement, so the garbage bin
Okay.
may have to be in the road allowance, so public roads may have an issue, but these are all things we can discuss at planning, site plan control for sure, yes. Mr. Terre is open to anything that will help for sure, so any other ideas, so like the steps to go down on Kincardine Street, he will all, yeah, definitely, we can discuss that, yeah.
okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thanks for that clarification with that table. That's helpful because it means we're actually not that far off, and you know, certainly gives me a level, a greater level of comfort. And I'm glad that we're going to be able to talk about parking further on into the process, and that there's potential options for increasing the parking here, because I think it's to everyone's benefit to be able to do that if it's possible. So I'm looking forward to that discussion.
Thank you. Further questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Manley.
Yeah, just to say that I think this is a good move for Alexandria as far as housing goes or whatever. We need some rental housing or whatever for sure. So I think this is I think it's a good step for Alexandria.
Agreed. Anyone else? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion? The motion, for, against? Motion is carried, one opposed. Okay, moving on to BP 2026-10, Bylaw 19, 2026, road widening Marcoux Road. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt bylaw 19, 2026, being a bylaw to acquire and dedicate a portion of a property for road widening purposes, and that bylaw 19, 2026 be read a first, second, and third time in open council this 23rd day of March, 2026.
Okay, thank you. Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is just a bylaw to, basically it's a road dedication bylaw, so we've seen many of those. So when we do it's confusing. I don't know, sorry.
Yeah. If you move right up to it, you can read it.
Anyhow, I'll
Go
just
ahead.
explain what it is. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's a road dedication bylaw, so when we do a severance, the Planning Act says that the owner has to give that portion of the road that would be our road if the road will be full width. So the roads are all, in this case, Marcoux Road, it's curved. So as you can see in the R plan, there's just a little sliver portion of the property that's being rededicated to road allowance purposes. So basically, this is just a bylaw we're passing to permit the lawyers to register that, in this case, it's part 3. So that little part 3, that little portion of land will now be the townships and will be merged with the road allowance. So basically, this is just a bylaw to give the lawyers the permission to register that onto the township's property.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed. We just voted to get rid of the councillor at large. Sorry. Sorry, BP 2026-11, bylaw 2021-26, road widening Kenyon Concession Road 1. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopt bylaw 21-2026, being a bylaw to acquire and dedicate a portion of a property or for road widening purposes, and that bylaw 21-2026 be read a first, second, and third time and enacted in open council this 23rd day of March 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is exactly the same thing. In this case, it's you'll see the our plan number is older. This is I guess a mistake or something that was missed back in 1983 when they did the entire Kenyon Concession 1, like all the properties, when they did the lots, they were supposed to be registered. This one here never was registered on the property. Now the owner did a severance, and when the when the lawyer went to do the deed of land, he realized that the road widening was never done. Basically, this is just to rectify that so that the owner can now sell the property legally and as per Planning Act. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. 1981. Was Gary on council then? Did he make that mistake? Or?
I could be. Sleep.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. Yeah. Good point. Point well taken. Okay, moving on to the, thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Moving on to Public Works Department, PW 2026-04, Alexandria Lagoon Contract Award. Councillor Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very pleased to move, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives report PW 2026-04 Alexandria Lagoon Expansion Contract Award, PW 1006, and that Council authorizes the award of contract PW 1006 for the Alexandria Lagoon Expansion to Thomas Fuller Construction Company Limited for $18,782,374 plus HST, and that the mayor and CAO clerk be authorized to enter into an agreement with Thomas Fuller Construction Company Limited for construction of the Alexandria Lagoon Expansion, and that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives bylaw 22-2026, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Thomas Fuller Construction Company Limited for construction of the Alexandria Lagoon Expansion. And that bylaw 22-2026 be read a first, second, third time in open council the 23rd day of March, 2026.
Thank you, Councillor. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as council and members of the public may or may not be aware, we've been working on a little lagoon project for a few years now. So I'm very happy to announce that the bids came in quite favorably. The township issued tender PW-1006 for the construction of the Alexandria Lagoon expansion. The tender was publicly advertised after we did our pre-qualification, and we received 4 submissions that were all within line with each other. So EVB Engineering reviewed all the submissions on the township's behalf and confirmed that the tender results are as follows. So Thomas Fuller was at 18 million, Dalcombe was at 20 million, as was Doran, and Lewis Spray was 21 million. So the Thomas Fuller was $1 million lower than the average, but well within what we would expect. None of the prices were, no one was wildly off. I mean, they were $1 million off. So for our normal projects, that would be quite a bit off. But for this project, they're quite in there. And this includes a $500,000 contingency allowance. Includes everything that we need. We'd already pre-qualified these contractors, so there wasn't really much to go through in terms of big compliance. And we're very happy to, we have met with the team so far just to do a quick meet and greet, and we're very happy with what we see. We have some very specific ways that we wanted the project to be managed, and they actually showed us the systems that they use, and we're really looking forward to working with them on this project. So we're very happy to recommend that we award the contract to Thomas Fuller Construction.
Okay, thank you. So this is very good news for the Township of North Glengarry. We are working currently with the province. We are significantly under budget, and we really don't want to give any money back to the province. So we are working right now to complete some other works in the town of Alexandria, but we're also looking that within this same envelope, we may be able to complete the Maxville Lagoon project as well. So it's huge for us, and so far we're getting. I met with MPP Sarazan. He was very favorable to it. He's spoken to the province, and our CAO has been in touch with staff. So it looks like it's something that's going to happen. So this is really big news for on the development front for North Glengarry. So. Questions or comments? Go ahead, Councillor Manley.
Just wondering, thank you. Just wondering, Thomas Fuller, are they local or where are they out of, Tim? Do you know?
I believe they're out of Southern Ontario.
Okay.
I haven't worked with them before.
Right. Yeah, it was a name that I didn't recognize or whatever. So
But they're very big in
Yeah.
the industry.
Okay.
When I was working for a contractor, they were one of those big name
Okay.
competitors.
Right.
So they know what they're doing. Yeah.
Excellent.
Great. Further questions or comments? Nothing. Good. Yeah. No. Okay. You're smiling. Okay. All those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. PW Alexandria Lagoon Sludge Removal Contract Extension, PW 2023-20, Bishop Water, Inc. Councilor Martin.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Williams, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives report PW 2026-005, Alexandria Lagoon Sludge Removal. Contract extension PW 2023-20, and that the council approves the extension of the existing contract with Bishop Water, Inc. Contract PW 2023-20, extension PWP 0-1798 for the 2026 construction season in the amount of $1,364,930 plus HST as a single source purchase in accordance with section 21-1B of the procurement policy bylaw 18-2023, and acknowledges the council previously approved entering into an agreement with Bishop Water, Inc. on June 23, 2023, under resolution number 06-23-2023-15 for the term of 3 years, and that the mayor and CAO clerk are authorized to execute the necessary contract extension documents.
Lots of numbers in there, Gary. Good job.
23.
Okay. Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, as you may recall last year, one of the things that we were concerned about and really pushed for, we brought a big sonar report of the sludge at the bottom of the Alexandria Lagoons. And this was something that this was part of our contingency when we did this project, because we never really had an idea of quite how much sludge was down there. I am very, very glad that we went ahead with that last year, as pushing forward with Bishop Water last year, and who was our contractor who's been working with us on the desludging for quite a while now. We pushed it hard last year, and we weren't able to take it all out. So now that we've gone through, we've seen, and we kept on desludging up until the dredge literally froze into the lagoons. So these guys were not slouching. We now have a good idea of how much sludge is left. The sludge has to be removed to be able to finish the construction of the lagoon project. We brought Bishop Water in to the bid meeting, so Thomas Fuller knows that Bishop Water are going to be there. They're going to be working. They're going to have their site separated. And Bishop have not only provided this proposal with a good rate, but they've also, this proposal includes a second dredge as well. So we can double the times. We're aiming at 60 working days to be able to complete the desludging. And it's imperative so that we can get into the lagoon, the large lagoon cells themselves, and actually put in the curtains, put in the valves between the cells.
Okay, fantastic. Questions or comments? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, obviously you've got to get that sludge out of there. I'm just curious as to why we've been at this since 2023 and there's still a bunch of sludge in there.
Through Mr. Mayor. So it looks like there was some decisions made previously to move the sludge around from cell to cell, which meant that it actually, they put too much sludge in one of the cells. I'm talking, 10, 15 years ago. And that really compressed the amount of sludge that was there and made, if you have a look through the report, we refer to the density of the sludge, and that's one of the big unknowns, and when you pack it all on top of each other, it really compresses down. So probably a root cause of why our lagoon's been performing so poorly over the last couple of years, but it's one of those things that until you actually get in there and start removing it, you don't know how bad it is. Whenever we go and do these reports, we make some assumptions that a standard lagoon that's operating under standard conditions. This is how much sludge there should be in there. That's the density there should be, but yeah, that's pretty much where it is. So
what you're saying is people of Alexandria are full of. Any other questions or comments, Councillor Madden?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. just, yeah, a consideration on this. This is, I mean, essentially lifetime lagoon sludge. Yes, there have been some tubes taken out in the past or filled up in the past, but I mean, this has never actually been done, right? Like, this is lifetime, so there's a lot in there. The fact that they're bringing in 2 is awesome, and I think we'll, as you said, 60 days is the goal, working days. If we can get that, obviously keep everything on track, that's fantastic and well worth the price.
Thank you. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried, none opposed. PW 2026-06 Sidewalk Reconstruction Program 2026, Contract Extension PW 2024-07, Malian Excavation. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Massey, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receives report PW 2026-06 Sidewalk Reconstruction Program 2026, Contract Extension PW 2024-07, and that council approves the extension of the existing contract with Malian Excavation for the 2026 construction season at a rate of $162.18 per square meter as a single source purchase in accordance with section 21.1B of the Township of North Glengarry's procurement policy, bylaw 18/2023, and acknowledge that council previously approved entering into an agreement with Malian Excavation on April 29th, 2024, under Resolution 0429/2024-04, and that the mayor and the CAO clerk be authorized to execute the necessary contract extension documents.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So back in 2023, we did a competitive procurement process for sidewalk replacements. Malian won that bid by a long shot. They had quite a low price, and on the sorry, that was in 2024 that we did that bid, and then in 2025 we authorized to negotiate with them to continue that contract. They were at such a low price in 2024 that they were losing money on it. So we let them come up to what is still a very, very competitive rate, even for $2025. So in 2026, we'd like to continue that with a 2% CPI increase, which is still incredibly reasonable and still beat out if you look at the comparison of the 2024 bids, it's still, $10, $12 cheaper per square meter than the other bidders. So it is definitely, in my opinion, well worth extending the contract. It is worth acknowledging that we weren't happy with when Malian poured last year. We did discuss that, and we had that, that discussion at the start of the year here to say, we can't have that repeat performance. We have to, if we award this to you in March, I think we awarded in April last year, we can't be pouring these sidewalks in November. We give you that commitment. And in acknowledgement that even though they were late last year, they made good. So they poured under cold weather conditions and used the tarps and preheating as needed, and we did our quality control, and there was no problems with their sidewalk installations. Normally the worry for an owner or a general contractor in those sort of situations is that generally the subcontractor or the person performing with the work would charge for cold weather additionals, and they did not do that. So there's some recognition, they took it on themselves and said, okay, this is not North Glengarry's problem. I was late. I'm going to take the extra cost, and I'm going to, make sure this gets done. We were happy with that resolution. Not optimal, but we did have that discussion of, okay, if we give you another chance, we need to make sure that we're doing this at the right time. So they've agreed to that. There doesn't really need to be a change in the contract because the contract from last year was sufficient to make sure the work got done and on time. So, yeah, so we're still happy to recommend the sidewalk extension for this year. Still a very good rate. They've always done good quality work. We'll be looking this year to make sure they get that done on time.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a sidewalk plan coming where we're going to be doing work?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a, as directed by a manager of transportation, similar to our asphalt roads program, we would generally work with a priority. So we have a condition rating, and we go around every year and we do a condition rating of each of the sidewalks, and we replace those that are most in need. The ones that are most in need at the moment are the other side of the road that we did last year. So on the north end of Alexandria, in front of the school, all the way down to essentially the corner of 34. The corner of 43. We stay a little bit back from 43 because we do have that upcoming Alexandria Main Street project, which we're hoping goes ahead very, very soon. So we're essentially counting out that area and just doing patches and cutting lippage inside the project area, because all those sidewalks are going to be replaced as part of that project. And then the next place that we'd be doing is along the south side of 43, going towards the fire station. Those are the next most in need, and also close to the work area that we'd be picking. If we still, the square, we're not 100% sure of the square meters. We've done a takeoff, but that's always a little bit different in the field. We find we can go a little bit further, or maybe we don't quite have as much. So the next place that would be needed after that would actually be the section on Main Street as well, in front of the school, across from the church, south of the Main Street project area, if we know that area. And then the next one after that would be St. Paul Street. So at the moment, we're just going to the most critical. So we have them, I should have put the map up on the screen, but we have them, red, yellow, orange, green, and then I think it's dark green or something for really good ones that we've just poured. So after we get all of the critical ones out of the way they need to be replaced ASAP, then we could look at more of a, which ones we think are more used or something like that. But at the moment, we're just replacing the ones by the condition assessment that were most critical. So they're absolutely failed and we need to replace the whole section.
Okay, Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tim, I'm wondering if we could get a copy of that map. If you could just send that out to us so we could see what, it would be good to know what we're doing, right, and what we're,
Yep, no, that's good.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Massey.
Yeah, 2% sounds like a very good deal, because in the last 2 weeks, the prices are of everything. So if I were you, Tim, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, get him to sign, and let's go.
Tim, just while I'm thinking of it, and just a little off topic a little bit, but there's a concerted effort from a bunch of residents that live on Lindsley Street East that their pavement is, and I drove down there a couple of times, is in very, very poor shape. So if we can just make sure we have a look at that. Okay, any further questions? Yeah, no, agreed. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. None opposed. Okay, and moving on, thank you, Tim. Moving on to the consent agenda. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden, that the Council of the Township of North Glengarry receive the items from the consent agenda for information purposes only.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Under new business, we have the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus resolution in regards to Alto High Speed. I'll go through and read it, and then we may have a comment just of something that we may want to add in regards to Via Rail. And since Deputy Mayor won't read it, I'll read it. So moved by Warden Richard Kidd, Lanark County, seconded by Warden Karina Smith-Gatke, United Counties of Leeds and Grenville. Whereas the federal government has identified Alto high-speed rail as a nation-building project with an estimated cost of $60 to $90 billion to deliver faster, more reliable rail service. And whereas Alto is advancing plans for a high-speed passenger rail project between the Quebec City-Toronto corridor cutting through Eastern Ontario. And where there is only currently one proposed stop across the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus 50,000 square kilometer region, benefiting urban residents at the cost of rural residents and land. Whereas portions of the proposed project will traverse and impact Eastern Ontario communities, infrastructure, residential, and agricultural lands, municipal trails, and environmentally sensitive areas, and with no long-term economic benefits. And whereas the closure and/or dead ending of roads will have significant ongoing unknown costs to municipalities, as well as service delivery and emergency response implications to residents and business. Whereas Eastern Ontario municipalities and residents have not received sufficient detailed information regarding potential local impacts, including land use, environmental effects, municipal infrastructure interfaces, and long-term financial or operational implications. And whereas municipal governments are responsible for protecting local interests, ensuring compatibility with existing planning frameworks, as well as safeguarding environmental, community, and residential mental well health and well-being. And whereas the EOWC and its member municipalities are actively trying to engage with Alto through a truly meaningful consultation process to understand the impacts of both proposed high-speed rail train routes to our residents, lands, trails, and businesses. And whereas the EOWC is Eastern Ontario United Advocacy Group representing 103 communities who value and will advocate for the region's beautiful lands that hold deep agricultural and cultural roots, and that are home to our rural and small urban communities that will be impacted by Alto. Therefore, be it resolved that the EOWC formally opposes the Alto project in its current form, and that this opposition is based on concerns related to insufficient municipal consultation, unclear rural and small urban impacts, potential environmental effects, and alignments with existing Eastern Ontario planning and infrastructure priorities. And that the EOWC urge our member municipalities, partners, businesses, and residents to share their questions and comments with Alto and federal representatives as part of the engagement process. And that the EOWC look to gather detailed information from Alto to more fulsomely understand the project and its impacts across Eastern Ontario. And that the EOWC advocates that the federal government and Alto fully explore train route options along existing infrastructure corridors, such as Via Rail and/or Highway 401. Copy of this resolution be sent to the Right Honourable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Steve McKinnon, Minister of Transportation, Martin Amo, President and CAO of Alto, EOWC members of Parliament, Premier Doug Ford, EOC members of Provincial Parliament, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, the Eastern Ontario Mayor's Caucus, and all EOWC municipalities and Eastern Ontario First Nation partners. So that's a mouthful. So I'll go first. That's something I agree with these points. There's a short-term benefit for the rural residents as that basically just during the construction process, and after that's done, they're just going through our lands, and we would still have to go to Montreal or to Ottawa to access it. Our biggest worry, again, is something that we keep talking about, is with something like that, what happens to Via Rail? We have a pickup stop here, and it gets us to various points in both provinces, and we're worried that if you don't have it at the top end, people getting on at the top end, why would you take Via Rail to go to Montreal to Ottawa when you can take the high-speed rail, leaving nobody on those trains. So it's what we're really worried about and want to see some action on. So I'll open up to members of council if they have anything else they'd like to add. Go ahead.
Well, just
Councillor
what
Manley.
you said there, Mr. Mayor, we need Alto to work with Via Rail and to develop a plan or whatever so that Via is still viable. And, you know, we have Cornwall, the Cornwall station, we have the Alexandria station in SD&G, right? And so we're, you know, we need them to stay for sure, so.
So Alto had booked a meeting with myself and the CAO, and then canceled it because it's not hitting any part of North Glengarry.
Okay.
But again,
Well,
this
it
this
does,
affects all our rural areas, and I stand with the farmers in the other jurisdictions and the residents in those rural communities. So I think it's appropriate, and, you know, the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, they do a great amount of
Yeah.
research before they send out these, and I feel confident that in supporting that document.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Madden.
To the point about VIA, I'm gonna say, if we add something in, which, I mean, we really need to, because for us, the VIA coordination aspect of this is really what's gonna affect us. But I'm gonna say the word prioritize, it would be well used in there, I think, for Alto to prioritize coordination with VIA and/or cooperation with VIA to ensure that train service is ensured to be available for as many residents of
Yeah.
this part of Canada as possible.
For sure.
And, I mean, there's been all kinds of talk about this, but there's a real risk of them actually isolating people from train service as opposed to providing it, right?
Right.
So there's gotta be ways for them to do this. It's not that difficult. If they're doing new tracks, there's some spots where they could do some connectors as well.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I went to the Alto consultation in Van Cleek Hill, and one of the points that came out of there was that Via in between Toronto and the end of the line, I think it's in Three Rivers, is supposed to actually, so Via along that corridor is supposed to become Alto. So I guess the idea was that you have a seamless experience or customer experience at the stations, because there'll be a Via and an Alto station. So probably more, not even coordination, but like it would be nice to see an actual plan from Alto of, okay, when we run Via between here and there, what is it gonna look like? What do we, all they told us in the consultation was that it's not changing, or that they're going to remain Via, and that wasn't, you know, so this is gonna have a reflection upon how many people can use the system, you know, how is that actually gonna change? This was, I think, just in mid-December of last year. So.
Well, I think they've just come with a proposal, and, you know, originally the proposal was it was coming right straight through North Glengarry. And then it's, now the swath of land is like 20 kilometers wide. I mean, before you do something, I really think you should have had a better understanding of where exactly it's going to go. And
I just read an article, I think yesterday, the president of Alto was saying, you know what, we understand that a 10-kilometer wide swath causes some people some concern. Like,
Really? Yeah.
But this is the way they chose to do it. And they're apparently looking to reduce that to a kilometer wide swath by mid or late this year. And the actual space taken up will be something like 60 meters when it's all said and done. So, I mean, that's the narrowing down of it, right? But obviously, it's got a ton of people really concerned, because it's still, who knows where it's going until it's actually set.
Yep. Okay, so, go ahead, sure.
Very quickly, if I might, just back to the VIA question. I think we'd be wise to bring in other municipal partners that also will stand to potentially lose, rural service. So, I think we need to bring, because Cornwall obviously is going to have some serious concerns about this. and not just us, but, you know, other municipalities surrounding North Glengarry go to the Alexandria station to access VIA. So there are a lot of people who have a stake in this, and I think we'd be wise to kind of broaden, get other members on board. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, Mr. CAO, I'm going to leave it in your hands to come up with some paragraphs in terms of Via Rail, and we'll circulate it to council, and then I'll sign it after that, and we'll get it sent out. Everyone's good with that? Okay, thank you. Notice of motion, next regular meeting of council is Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers, and I will open up the floor to anybody that has a question. Jeez, it's been a few weeks, Heinz, so. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I just want to expand on the Alto discussion.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to really question the logic behind this whole project anyways. Because when you go back, what actually had happened in the fairly recent past, Via Rail had actually received about $1 billion funding to do research as to how that can improve the services, because Via Rail was able to actually service have a connection between Ottawa and Toronto in about 3.5 hours, where now it's maybe 5 hours. So the question is, why did they reduce the quality of service? And so the answer that they came back with is they could improve that service, and their system, it would cost them about $8 billion to implement that whole service. They took those $8 billion and gave it actually to Alto to come up with this project that we're dealing here right now. It makes no sense. It would alienate every community along the way. Does not improve any services, rather does the opposite, as you have recognized. So I can encourage you to band together. The reason I think why they use a wide swath of property, because they kind of create a little bit of anxiety, and then they say, oh, we're going only here, and then everybody says, oh, it's not my problem anymore, and then they push it through, right? So, and then again, we are wondering what authority the federal government has actually to pass a law that will specify 2 new ways to expropriate properties. There's already existing one law that would allow that. Now they want to add 2 new ones to speedily expropriate properties. So we have to be very aware of that, what's really going on, and question what is the authority of the federal government really to do that such thing, which is, not helping anybody in the entire region.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Another question I have regarding the fees and charges bylaw. If anybody can explain to me the reason why, particularly the fees for permits, building permits had gone up between 25, 50, some 200%. What's the reason for that? It doesn't encourage development if you increase your fees to that degree.
Well, the one thing is for sure that we don't have building bylaw charges. So that, I think right at that, development charges. We don't have development charges here where others do. Here, we were just so low that we need to cover the cost of what our, it's a specified service. And I don't think the numbers are out of whack that would stop somebody from building a house. I know in some municipalities, North Dundas, I think it's $10,000 to $25,000, in development charges. And so go ahead.
Yeah, and the only one that went up 200% is the one for Lagoon and Manure Pits. We were at $500. It makes no sense to have that at $500. It's a huge structure. We have to go there sometimes 10 times. We have to review the engineering plans talk to the engineer, talk to the owner, MDS, nutrient management strategy. So that's the only one that went up 200%. All the other ones, as you said, Mr. Mayor, are just going up standard to try to match our neighboring townships. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you could have increased the fees for a project like solar or BESS by a couple of 100,000% maybe.
Yeah.
You would have made up for everything else. Yeah, I know, but 100 is, for them is, look at the number, it's
Yeah.
very minimal, okay? And it's not specified as to per unit, what is a unit?
Yeah.
You know, so I think there might be a question as to what is a unit and how is that structure really being applied. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to go back just to, my question is, if you need to get to Toronto quick, you can jump on a Porter flight and be there from Montreal to Toronto in about an hour and 10 minutes. And so if that's what you need to do via rail, they talked about, getting better service. I know some members of council took a train last, or 2 months ago. And what time are you supposed to leave at? 2 hours, 1:45. Yeah, 2.5 hours late, just leaving the station in Cornwall, and that originated in Montreal. So they have lots of room to improve, that's for sure. So I got that off my chest.
Have they even give a fare, like how much it was gonna cost to go from Montreal to Toronto in 2 hours? You know,
Yeah, for,
Build a small airport around here and then get over to land here.
so we're gonna build like they did in Mirabel? Okay. Are there any further questions from the audience? Yes, go ahead, please.
I'll just give one final comment about the project on Kindergarten Street. I'm not happy that that no changes basically have been made from the 27 units. I still think it's too intense for the area. I guess because I've always lived in a good big lot in a nice big house with lots of space around me, I just can't see people being happy. I guess if you've lived in Toronto or if you've lived in the British Isles and you've lived close to people, but I think it's just, and I'm hoping people are going to be happy. I know it's going to serve well to a lot of people, and I hope there are not going to be any problems with it. But I have my doubts.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you very much for listening to us. It's very helpful for the community to feel connected, and I thank you for this privilege. I was interested to read in the Glengarry Times, still looking for the Glengarry News, what Michael Madden said about the fact that really our intentions are all the same. We want to see the best outcome. And as a group of people living in Alexandria for many years, we've been waiting for the seniors village and have been very excited about that prospect because it's desperately needed. And maybe the lagoon changes will open up new opportunities to actually visualize this because there is a great need. So what we've been saying has not been to sort of dampen enthusiasm about this unit. It's been like your intention to refine it. And I thank you for the efforts that have been made to do that. I think, too, that there has been some movement on that. I think when we look at the comparisons, like you mentioned, between the properties, when you use the St. James as an example of what this is going to look like, the St. James site has a lot more greenery in front and in back, so that people who are coming off the farms, there's no place to really sort of even sit. It's just like the property that now resides that was recently done on Bishop and Kincardine, or excuse me, St. George. There's no place to sit. People sit on their porches. There's no greenery. So we've traded things, which is acceptable. People know what they're going to get. So as you mentioned, Karma, they see the limitations and they have the choice to decide whether to take them. So I hope that when we get to the point of looking at the specifics of the design, that we'll have the same opportunities to comment about how things are going to be done. From a fire perspective, there's only one door of entry into all of these units, not two. I don't know if the windows are going to open. There's only going to be one window. There are a lot of things that you have to keep in mind for seniors that we have a responsibility to consider. So don't stop the discussions, please. We need to be involved. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. You guys at the back, everybody else spoke. You guys are good? Oh, you will? Okay.
Okay. I also want to thank all of you for this discussion on new housing. A few of you on the council know that I've asked what properties can be used within the municipality to provide accessible housing. I'm not quite a senior yet, but I am disabled. And 3 years ago, I sold my farm and I moved into town, and I currently live on a second-story apartment. I have 18 stairs to get up and down, which isn't easy. So I'm really, really grateful that this council is considering housing developments like this, because they are so necessary for people like me. I know there's a lot of, I had concerns too about, are there going to be egress windows, because there only seems to be one door leading in and out. But I think those are minor things that could be looked at, and I think they need to be continued to be looked at, because this municipality is a beautiful one. I don't want to move away. I want to live here. But my current condition means that it's easier for me to be on a lower level. And in the last 3 months, I've looked at lower level apartments, and I've found out from some landlords that there's lineups to see these apartments, but there's also people willing to pay extra to ensure that they get the units. Right. And if it's going to turn into a bidding war, we can't have that. We just can't have that. So please continue to discuss this and encourage developers to develop places for all of us, because we don't want to leave our community. We want to stay here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Susie. I'm glad you said that you're not a senior, since we're the same age, so.
I know, right? I got you back.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. You're good? All right. Thanks, everyone. So we have no closed session tonight. Confirmation bylaw. Councillor Madden.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Manley, the Council of the Township of North Glengarry adopts bylaw 23-2026, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, and the bylaw 23-2026 be read a first, second, third time, and enacted in open council this 23rd day of March 2026.
Thank you. All those in favor? Motion is carried, none opposed, and motion to adjourn. Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Madden. There being no further business to discuss, the meeting was adjourned at 7:36 p.m.
All those in favor? Motion is carried. So thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, and thank you for the comments from the public. It's always nice to see some people show up to our meetings. Heinz has been getting a little lonely showing up sometimes on his own, so it's good to see some people showing up. So.
I'm not lonely, I have you here.
Yeah.
I'm back from vacation.
So thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your week.